You shot a Disney pilot that didn't get picked up.
KeKe and Jamal.
Did you man, whew. Because I'm thinking, talking to you, listening to you, a very confident person. You believe in KeKe.
Okay.
But when that didn't get picked up, what did that do? What did that do to you mentally? You're like, damn, I just knew this is gonna be my big break.
What did I think? I want to go back to that moment and really tell you what I thought. I think I was down, and I think I was surprised. Because like you said, I've always been quite confident. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because I've always had this relationship with myself where there's a voice inside my head that will say, well, hey, they f***ed up. I don't know what that is. I wish I could describe what that is. But when things didn't go my way, and maybe it was the encouragement of my parents, or maybe it's a relationship that I had with self growing up. When you pray as a kid and stuff, that's fostering also the personal conversation with yourself inside. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I just was comfortable with that and just decided to have a positive look on things. But when I was younger, a lot of times before I hit a place where, it was tough and it was hard for me to tell myself something positive. Most of the time, if a movie or a role or something else, I would say, they've made a big mistake. Or, wow. So where am I going now? Because I know if this isn't it, God has something else for me. Mm. I don't know why that would be that way, but I just would think, well, you're not going to take away gold and give me silver. I do love silver, though.
Then you get the role, Madea's Family Reunion.
Yes.
Do you remember auditioning for that, and how did that role come about?
It's so funny. I didn't audition for that at all. I actually did Akeelah and the Bee with Lionsgate.
Wow. Okay.
So we had already done Akeelah and the Bee, and they were figuring out the distribution and when that movie was going to come out. In the midst of them doing that, they had did a big screening for Akeelah and the Bee at Lionsgate. They were so excited about this movie.
Right.
So they did a big screening, and one of the people that were in the screening was Tyler Perry. Mm. And he was doing Madea's Family Reunion. And randomly they said, he's doing Madea's Family Reunion. My family, we were huge fans. I remember before I became an entertainer, sitting up at my Uncle Ronald's house, on my Auntie Lonzetta couch.
Watching the plays on television?
And we was watching the plays, okay? So I was like, oh my gosh, Tyler has called us. And they were like, he wants you to come and do a table read. So we did the table read. The next thing you know, I got the role. I'm in Atlanta shooting Madea's Family Reunion.
Wow.
It was crazy. That was crazy.
Your big break, though, was really Akeelah and the Bee.
For sure.
That was the movie that put KeKe Palmer,
yeah.
She legit. She legit. Yeah, she legit. She is, the kid that was doing the roles and all that. No, she's a bona fide. She's someone that's going to be reckoned with, not only now, but moving forward. What was that role, and how did you you played it?
Oh my gosh,
you did the thing.
Oh, thank you so much. When I think about that movie now, my mom was so I remember we were in the room, whatever, and she was like, oh yeah, I got this new script they want you to audition for. I'm about to read it. It's called Akeelah and the Bee. It sounds like an animation, but we'll see. So I remember her. My mom is so dramatic, I'm telling you. She comes out the room, you have to do this movie.
Wow.
I'm like, Mom, please. It's too much. Sometimes sharing is too much. And she's like, I'm telling you, we need to do a tape read of this as a family. So she had us all doing it. My dad was playing Javier. You know what I'm saying? I only had to play Akeelah. She was playing the mama. My sister was playing Dr. Larry. And we all read it. And at the end, we all were like, ow, I have to do this movie.
Wow.
We were all, and we just felt like it was, I think it's everything that we care about. It's about community. It's about the beauty in our community. And it's about words and language and how it's very freeing, especially when you think about a young Black girl being able to express herself through words.
Yes.
And just the history of who we are as a people and how words often were kept from us. It has so many deep layers that I think we don't even have to say, we just feel intrinsically. And I just think about the scene where she says, I don't need help from a truculent, supercilious gardener, a dictatorial, truculent, supercilious gardener. It's knowing that she was not only able to express herself with those words, but also embody what they meant, it is so freeing. And then pulchritude, the fact that that was her final word, and it means beautiful. And it was the one word that she was struggling when she did not know how to accept herself and her community. But at the end, when she realized that her community was love and they were beautiful, even in all of what they experienced. As a grown woman, mother now, I get why that movie was so impactful, and it is the gift that keeps giving,
how when you shot that movie, how long afterwards did people forget that your name was KeKe and call you Akeelah?
Literally, people still to this day call me Akeelah. Either they'll come up to me and be like, Akeelah, or they'll be like, stop popping that gum. That still is the most popular thing that people do when they see me, literally.
You mentioned Tyler Perry, and you've been in the Madea family reunion, and I've heard a lot of women say, Tyler Perry has paid me more money than anybody else in Hollywood. I heard Taraji say that. I heard Megan Good say that. I heard a few other women say that.
Yeah.
When we talk about the pay disparity, not just from men to women, but from white women to black women.
Yeah.
Even Viola Davis, the incomparable, she got an EGOT. I mean, she got them all.
Yeah.
Has said that the pay that she receives, and no one is more accomplished than she is. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's so hard for Hollywood to accept a Taraji, KeKe, Viola, any of them, Megan Good, and see them as they see their counterparts?
Because they don't have to. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but I think for me, the biggest thing that I think about in those regards is like, how can we come together and how can we do our own things? Mm-hmm. How can we show up for each other more? You know, a lot of times we have these actors that come out on the front line and they're talking about this and then no one goes to see the movie. That don't help us.
Right.
You know, the comments, we need the million seats in the theater.
Yes,
if you really care about me not getting paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Show up, watch the movie, show through the numbers that there's an audience for this. But it's one of those things where I feel like I'm in a place in my life, and I talk about this in my book, where it's like, I cannot change all these systems. And I'm also, I don't want to keep telling the people that are literally benefiting the least to stand out there on the front lines and lose jobs. I mean, I have so many friends and people in this industry that are losing jobs fighting for something that they aren't even directly benefiting from, that I then just want to turn around and say, let's come together. I know that feels cliche, but like literally, that's what it'll take, is to come together, figure out how to create a system that can continue to feed itself within our community. And it's not easy to do that. Right. You know, one of the only people that I think has ever done something like that is Tyler Perry. Right. And that's why I continue to give him his props, because it's not easy to step away from a corporation. He did the first few Madea movies with Lionsgate and then decided to do them on his own. And people said whatever they wanted to say, or it's not this, it's not that. Okay, well, he was figuring out the numbers so that he could stand on his own. Mm-hmm. And that he could do it the way that he feels it should be done. And I just feel like that we should encourage each other to do it, to try to do it that way, because you're not going to be able to change something as it stands. Right. But you can change yourself and how you work in it. Right.
I'm looking at the Disney movie Jump In, 12 years old. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was your first kiss.
Yes.
So how did that go over with your parents?
So, you know, it was actually a big thing for all of us, because I was 12 and Corbin was 17. Right. You know.
Oh man, he be in jail now. He going to jail.
So that was very, weird.
Yes.
And he was such a brother vibe to me. Even though Corbin's adorable, it's so cute. You know, we all loved the hair. Right. It was like that wasn't the relationship we had. Mm-hmm. And so I remember I had a call with my agent, and I was like, I'm scared about this. This is weird. And she was like, well, Megan Good had to kiss Samuel L. Jackson in Eve's Bayou. So. And I was just like, huh? Mm. I just thought, why would that make what I'm supposed to do with that?
Yeah, that's me. That's her. That's me.
Yeah, I feel like that was weird too. You know what I mean? And I don't really know what to make of that. Right. It's like, this is our craft. This is our art. I think there's a weird thing that happens with kid entertainers where we have to literally dissociate so much.
Yes.
As an adult would in the workplace, in ways that's not normal or common.
Correct.
And to tell these stories. And I don't really know what to make of it, but what I would say is what I've always said to my mom is that I wish that there was more therapy for kid entertainers on set. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish there was more people to help them process. And, of course they have, intimacy coaches, and they talk things through. And I'm sure that's the experience of any of these kinds of situations, but it's still is hard to differentiate from, is this my real life experience or is this someone else?
Right.
And yeah, it's weird. It's just like a thing, you know what I mean? Where, you know, I experienced the same thing, you know, in another movie that I did where the guy was, I was 17 and he was like 27.
You like him older, huh?
That's what Michelle said.
Oh, no, my goodness. Come on, KeKe. It's too soon.
want me into it.
No, I didn't. You've been waiting for that. It's too soon, KeKe. Oh, my goodness.
They don't call you hunky hunky for nothing. You
Lord,
better go ahead.
see, KeKe, that is too. Come. I did not expect. Oh, Lord. Let me get back at you. Okay, the scene. You were 17, he was 27.
Yeah.
Whew, I need
Very weird.
I need a glass.
Go
man.
ahead, pour it up.
Can I get a glass, man? KeKe the. Oh, Lord have mercy.
But yes, it's like the age differences and all that stuff. It's a thing.
Oh.
I just remember, you know, I got off that call. I'm thinking about jump in, and Corbin was like talking to me, holding my hand, being a sweet person, and the kiss was like 5 seconds. It was, again, just the art of being an entertainer and being a child
Right.
is a very difficult thing to process all the time because you're dealing with really big adult things, and yeah, you know.
When did you realize that, okay, this is a job I'm acting, this is not truly what it is? How soon were you able to delineate between the two?
Well, that took some time. I would like to say I didn't start, there would be an element of method acting. I remember I was doing Joyful Noise with Queen Latifah, and she had seen me and my mom were getting ready to do this crying scene, and me and my mom would do this thing where we would talk, and we would have to I'd have to pull from like my life or thinking about dark things about my life because I had not had yet really enough experience to understand how to draw a correlation between me and my character. And I think that was really like a heavy way to go about getting to the emotion because it would be impossible to create delineating factors between my life and my characters.
Right.
But I think as time has gotten, you know, I've had more experiences in my life, I've been able to recognize myself and my character without thinking that I am my character. And I've been able to separate myself in other ways. You know what I mean? Like, I think I moved away from California for a while. That helped me. I remember when I did Broadway for the first time.
Right.
At 21. That was kind of like the first time that I ever experienced a lot of time away from California, which is very much an industry bubble a lot of the time.
Right.
And I experienced other worlds, like, oh, everybody doesn't care about what I do. In New York, I'm like, some people are into Wall Street, some people are into fashion, some people are into theater, some people are into, you know, there's so many other things that people are interested in. And I think that also helped me too to understand what it means to step outside of one particular space and that I'm not what I do. This is just something that I do.
Is there any type of scene that even now that KeKe would be unwilling to do? Would you do like a nude scene or would you do like a say?
Yeah, those I'm not into that, you know, like, you know, giving you just, hey, with titties out, you know what I mean? I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't feel, I don't think I feel confident in that to really go ahead and do that. I'm not mad at the love scene, but it's like, what kind? What kind of choreography are we doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, other than that, you know, I'm open. But yeah, I'm not into nudity.
How, now that you are a mom, does that play a role into it?
Into the roles I want to take, yes. Okay. And I think before I was a mom, it was my parents, my family, my community, what I want to represent.
Okay.
And then it's become even more my son, my you know, what I want him to see and know. And that's not stringent and rigid, right? I think mothers and women are nuanced. It don't mean, well, I'm not doing, you know, all these rules now, but it's just like, how will I speak to him about it? Is this something that I can stand behind?
Right.
Things like that.
You're one of the great success stories of a child actor. If there's anything that you could, look, young boys, young girls that want to follow in KeKe's footsteps, what's some of the advice you would give them?
You can't change the world. there's a great quote that I love with Mother Teresa. She says, no great things can be done, only small things with great love. So focus on what you can do on the inside with yourself. My book, Master Me, is all about self-mastery. Mastery of the self, how you move in this world, how you choose to show up and perform, how you choose to identify your purpose and how that informs the way you're going to perform and how that leads you to your power. That's what it's about to me. So I would say to lean into you, trust yourself, know where it is that you feel safe. Have and create a community that allows you to flourish and encourages you to be your best. And then be easy on yourself. Take it one day at a time, because I didn't know the blueprint I was drawing, but I trusted and had faith that it was going to work out. And I followed my heart. I followed what made me feel good, what made me feel happy, my sense of purpose, what drew me to something from a good place. That's what allowed to lead me. And so, yeah, trust yourself, because at the end of the day.
There's a viral clip that's circulating where Justin Bieber says he wished he could protect Billie Eilish from the industry. But, obviously he came up in the industry, extremely successful. You came up in the industry. What is it? Is because the kids are kind of isolated? Like a lot of times, I don't, like you said, your mom traveled with you everywhere.
Yeah.
But, I had Kale Mitchell here, and I've had some others that, sometimes the parents are not around, and, sometimes and kids they're vulnerable. They're easily taken advantage of.
Yes, I think it's everything you said. Kids are easily taken advantage of. You can go all the way back to Judy Garland when they were pumping her up with drugs. Mm-hmm. So, it happens. And even if it's not the most extreme idea, it's still traumatizing. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't tell you that I've experienced some crazy things, but I can't tell you they were done when I was a kid on set. But even still, it was hard.
Right.
So I just think being a child and working in an adult world, this is an adult business. There's nothing childish or kiddie about showing up and working 20 hours a day,
Right.
I just don't think there's anything that can really prepare a child for that, because mentally they're not able to understand that. And so there are some things in place, but like I said, I feel like there should be therapists. And I seen an interview recently where Raven-Symoné was saying that on her show, they do have that. So I just think there needs to be more things implemented to protect a child from a childhood that essentially they're being stripped of. Mm-hmm. Because the thing about childhood is you're allowed to be a child, which means I'm allowed to cry and kick and scream. Mm-hmm. I'm allowed to have a bad attitude. My son, we did Halloween pictures yesterday. He kicked and screamed the whole time. He can do that because he's a kid. But when people are there because it's a business, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't kick and scream. You're not allowed to be a kid. You're not allowed to say, I don't want to do this. You're not allowed.
You have to be an adult as a 7, 8, 12-year-old.
You do. And that's why a lot of times people say, so-and-so seems so mature. They seem so, they've aged. The industry will age you. Sometimes I feel 50 because the way that I had to be objective about things in order to survive the scenario, it's going to make you more mature. And so, yeah, I get the statement, because, everybody wants people to be able to enjoy their childhood. But as a child entertainer,
you don't get a childhood. You get robbed of that. Huh?
No, you can't. You have to. There's no way to be a kid there. It's not fit for that.
Nickelodeon scandal, quiet on the set. Your mom said some Nickelodeon sets were very weird and cultish. Did you experience any of that?
I did not. I'm very grateful to God I didn't experience anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make it seem like, it's because my parents was doing more than the other parents or something like that. Because I'm sure many of these parents was doing their best. But my parents, they were really so strict on me. And a lot of times I feel like that's why I didn't get some opportunities, or I don't even want to say opportunities, but why some people didn't want to work with me, and it's not even that there was necessarily going to be something sinister going on in a sexual manner, but it would also be financial. My mom, she would read those contracts. She would say, well, this is the second year. She needs a raise. And they're like, okay, well, she's coming. So instead of doing a third season, we'll overpack the second season so we can get 3 seasons and we don't have to pay her more.
Right.
And so those are the kinds of things that Sharon would do that I think she was just so alert that it would scare some people off. And
But she wasn't going to let anybody take advantage of her child.
She was serious about that. She really was. I remember she cursed a lot of people out. She definitely did. I ain't raising no dummy. Y'all need to make sure she get her school. I'll never forget that's what she did on the Akeelah and the Bee set, because it was kind of starting to overwork me. And she said, I'ma close the set down. She ain't got no school all day. I ain't raising no fool. It don't make no sense for her to be on this set with this movie where they talking about a little girl learn how to spell and y'all ain't gonna let her read.
Wow.
And I mean, as a kid, sometimes that stuff would embarrass me. Yes, it would embarrass me. But now it's like, woo, thank goodness. And she would tell me that, later on that she was scared, but she was just doing what she felt she needed to do to protect me.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like any of the crazy industry or hard things I went through, most of the time I brought them on myself as a young woman, because as a kid, Larry and Sharon were like,
they was on it.
They was on it.
Are there any roles that you turned down that you later regretted?
I don't say that I would regret this one, but it would have kind of been cool to be in Half Nelson. Mm-hmm. I remember they had reached out to us about that. My mom was so, they've always been so particular about how I represent the community. I grew up with them always talking about Ruby Dee, Ozzie Davis, Muhammad Ali, and just entertainers and how they use their platforms.
Correct.
And so they were like feeling bad about the fact that I would go from doing Akeelah and the Bee to being a drug dealer. And so that's why they weren't interested in that. But, obviously Ryan Gosling is a great actor, and so is Sharika Epps. Mm-hmm. So it was a great movie.
Of all the movies that you've done, which movie is KeKe Palmer most identified with?
That people identify me the most with? Absolutely Akeelah and the Bee.
Really?
People still to this day, that is the movie when they think about me. I mean, I've gone on the airplanes and people say, are you the little girl in Akeelah and the Bee? And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy that you know that. So that's the one that I think people still think about the most. And then True Jackson VP, yeah. And then now, Nope.
Have you ever gotten stage fright? Have you ever gotten up there and forgot every word that you were supposed to say after knowing it backwards and forward?
That happened to me once. I was doing Broadway. And what happens is you start kind of go like blank in your mind when you're doing so many shows like that.
Right.
Because you get used to the fact that I know what I'm doing. And they rehearse you so much that you're like, oh, I got this. And you can actually leave your body a little bit. Wow. One night, I left my body doing a lovely night. And I was like, oh, what kind of night is it? I was like, and honey, it was the strangest thing because, I'm doing my dance and everything. And so I was like, I just stayed dancing and smiling, like literally. I felt crazy. And then I looked down and I see the conductor and he's like, and he's mouthing it back to me. And I suddenly got back on track. Honey, I felt like I went, and you know what they call it? They call it, you go into the little white room.
Right.
I went to the little white room and I didn't know how I was going to recover.
Right.
That was the scariest thing I ever experienced in my life.
But do you think the audience knew that you had lost your train of thought?
I would love to have asked somebody. They might have thought, weird choreography. Because I was literally like, it was strange. I went from being like, and it was just like, is she good? They had to have thought that. But once I got back in, and that was it, It was spooky.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because we like to do something before 2 something.